Welcome back to CIA Declassified. It is 1951. The world is vibrating with a new, terrifying frequency. 2 years ago, the Soviet Union shattered the American nuclear monopoly, and the strategic map of Washington has been rewritten in fire. President Harry Truman knows that the Pentagon, for all of its concrete, is a soft target. If the missiles fly, the brain of the military will be vaporized in seconds. You are a civil engineer standing on a remote slope in southern Pennsylvania. Below you is a massive greenstone formation, so hard it breaks drill bits. This is the spot. You aren't building a highway or a dam. You are carving a 300,000 square foot tomb for the living. The mission is continuity of government. While the American public is told to duck and cover under wooden desks, you are building a city on springs that can ride out a multi-megaton blast like a ship on a rough sea. Close your eyes and feel the vibration. You're standing in the center of Building D, 3 stories of steel suspended in a pitch-black cavern. The humidity is a constant, heavy blanket, and the air tastes of ozone and hydraulic fluid. Above you, 600 feet of solid rock. It's all that separates you from a world that might already be burning. You hear the low, persistent hum of the massive fans, the lungs of the mountain, sucking in the air and scrubbing it clean of the ghost of fallout. You aren't just an observer. You are a gear in a machine designed to function when the heart of the nation stops beating. Every footfall on the metal grating echoes through the tunnels, a reminder that in the subterranean silence, the clock of the Cold War never stops ticking. Imagine the silence inside those tunnels as the first dynamite charges echo through the rock. The air is thick with the smell of whetstone and diesel. You are constructing a world where the sun never rises, a world of fluorescent lights, atomic-proof server racks, and enough bunk beds for 3,000 high-ranking officials who have been chosen to stay behind. There are no windows here, only monitors and maps. You are looking at the alternate National Military Command Center, a place where the orders for the end of the world will be typed on keys that don't tremble. As the heavy blast doors are hung, 7 feet of steel and concrete, you realize that Raven Rock isn't just a bunker. It is a monument to the coldest logic of the Cold War, that the nation can only survive if its leaders are buried deep enough to outlast the rubble. The Doomsday Mountain is open for business, and the world above is about to become a memory. Why the name? Raven Rock is named after the geographic pillar landform located just at the north of the complex's main entrance. During the initial 1950 federal petition to seize the land, the Army officially designated the mountain as Raven Rock Mountain. To the inner circle, it became SYT AHR, a designation that allowed it to disappear from maps and manifestos, blending into the alphabet soup of classified real estate alongside Mount Weather's Site B. To understand the underground Pentagon, we look at the declassified history of the Granite Citadel. Raven Rock was constructed between 1951 and 1953 as a direct response to the first Soviet nuclear test. The faculty is officially known as the Alternate Joint Communication Center. It is located near Blue Ridge Summit, Pennsylvania, 6 miles from Camp David. The bunker contains over 300,000 square feet of office and living space. The interior consists of several 3-story buildings built entirely within hollowed-out caverns. These buildings are mounted on massive steel springs to absorb the shock of a nuclear blast. The faculty has its own 5 million gallon internal reservoir. Raven Rock was designed to house up to 3,000 personnel in a total lockdown emergency. It served as the alternate headquarters for the Joint Chiefs of Staff. On September 11, 2001, Vice President Dick Cheney was evacuated to the complex. The facility is guarded by the elite Pentagon police. Raven Rock remains a fully operational 24-hour military installation to this day. The greenstone of the mountain is actually a rare ultra-hard rock. The faculty maintains 38 different communication systems, including subterranean fiber. The 114th Signal Battalion is the primary unit responsible for communications. The massive blast doors weigh roughly 34 tons each. It maintains a standby staff of hundreds even during times of global peace. The complex was a key node in the National Military Command System. Initial construction cost $35 million in the 50s. Adjusted for inflation, that's over $350 million today. The facility includes a small chapel for the spiritual needs of the survivors. Raven Rock became a primary station for the NORAD alert network in 1958. The complex utilized IBM 473L command and control systems during the Cold War. One tunnel serves as a high heat trash incinerator to prevent surface evidence of occupation. It is linked to the Defense Information Systems Agency, DISA. It conducted a massive test evacuation of 1,500 employees as early as 1955. The site has its own dedicated zip code, 16641. Hardened microwave towers provide line of sight comms even if satellites are jammed. Personnel are strictly forbidden from bringing GPS-enabled devices into the tunnels. The site features a full-scale fitness center to maintain the health of stay-behind staff. It contains a complete television studio for presidential post-attack broadcast. The complex has an on-site department with specialized subterranean equipment. The doors are designed to survive a 30 megaton direct overpressure blast. Construction required the removal of 500,000 cubic yards of solid rock. It is a central pillar of the continuity of operations federal network. The facility holds enough freeze-dried rations for 30 days of total atmospheric isolation. Air scrubbers remove 99.9% of all radioactive and biological particulates. The springs are 18-inch thick steel coils designed for seismic isolation. A no-fly zone, P40, protects the airspace shared with nearby Camp David. The complex includes a data center larger than a standard football field. Corridors are color-coded, red, blue, gold, to prevent disorientation in the maze. There is a psychological welfare office to manage the trauma of survivors. The blast doors are convex, curved outward, to deflect the force of an explosion. It uses legacy EMP hardened vacuum tube technology as a deep redundancy backup. The site is accessible via 4 main hardened portals disguised by the terrain. It is officially classified as a Category 1 restricted area. Every bunk is equipped with a survival kit containing potassium iodide anti-radiation pills. The facility is located roughly 650 feet below the mountain's summit. It acts as the brain for the Global Command and Control Systems, GCCS. The underground buildings are essentially freestanding ships inside rock bubbles. The site was almost decommissioned in the 90s before the War on Terror revitalized it. It maintains an internal medical clinic with surgical capabilities. The mountain's rock is so dense it naturally shields against any forms of electronic eavesdropping. Internal power is provided by massive diesel generators with months of fuel storage. The site is often referred to as Harry's Hole, a nod to President Harry Truman. It remains one of the few places on Earth where a president can disappear from all tracking. Declassified Joint Chiefs of Staff memo: the alternate National Military Command Center remains the most hardened facility in the U.S. inventory, capable of sustaining command functions under extreme duress. A declassified CIA Directorate of Science and Technology report, Site R is not merely a bunker, it is the physical manifestation of the survival instinct of the Republic. A declassified 1962 COOP directive maintaining the secrecy of the egress routes from the Capitol to the Blue Ridge complex is paramount to the survival of the executive chain. A declassified CIA Human Resources internal review, psychological assessments of stay-behind personnel indicate a 40% higher stress threshold than surface counterparts. Declassified engineering analysis, the structural integrity of the floating buildings is such that internal occupants would experience a 5.0 earthquake as a minor tremor. Declassified briefing, in the event of total surface loss, Raven Rock becomes the sole node for the second strike logic gate. And a declassified construction oversight report dated 1952. We are building a city to outlive a civilization. Let us hope the keys are never turned. End quote. Despite the facility's public name, its internal architecture is a maze of black ink. The heaviest redactions involve the section titled Sea Level Life Support and Continuity of Succession Suites. We are looking at an estimated 215 pages of total blackout in the 1991 modernization logs. The government cites Exemption B7 protecting law enforcement and security techniques. I speculate that these pages contain the blueprints for a private access shaft leading directly to a helipad near Camp David. And I further speculate that about 40 pages detail the crematorium protocols, the redacted procedures for disposing of high-value casualties within the bunker to prevent the spread of radiation sickness or panic among the survivors. And I'm not the only one with theories. When a mountain is hollowed out, the imagination fills the void. For instance, there's the underground freeway theory. It's a persistent local rumor which suggests there is a 70-mile-long tunnel connecting the White House directly to Raven Rock, allowing the president to drive a high-speed electric rail car through the bedrock. Then there's the frozen founders speculation. Some theorists believe the site contains a cryogenic vault holding the DNA of preserved remains of key historical figures, intended for a rebirth of America project after a total nuclear reset. Then there's the shadow Pentagon theory. Speculation exists that there is a parallel government, a deep state administrative body that lives permanently in Site R, running simulated wars and managing global events without the knowledge of the surface elected officials. And then there is the artifact Ark conspiracy theory. Some conspiracy enthusiasts believe that Site R houses relics of strategic significance, including sensitive religious or historical artifacts recovered during covert ops, kept underground to prevent them from being used as spiritual weapons by adversaries. Was it a success? Tactically, it was a functional citadel. Raven Rock was a success in its primary mission, survivability. By utilizing independent spring suspension for its buildings, it bypassed the fatal flaw of most bunkers, the fact that a nearby blast could turn the walls into shrapnel. This mechanical isolation meant that while the mountain might shake, the brain inside remained steady enough to type. It provided the Joint Chiefs with a hardened node that could not be taken out by a single strike. Its activation on September 11th proved that the muscle memory of the facility worked exactly as intended. Within minutes of the first tower falling, the communications web at Site R was pulsing, proving that the multi-billion-dollar investment in hardened logic was not in vain. The tactical success lies in its redundancy. If DC is a ghost town, Raven Rock ensures the finger remains on the trigger. Furthermore, the tactical design forced an adversary to reconsider their math. To destroy Site R, a foe couldn't just hit the mountain. They would need multiple high-yield direct ground burst hits to even attempt to collapse the internal caverns. This tactical resource sink made the mountain an expensive target for any aggressor, effectively raising the cost of entry for a successful nuclear first strike. Strategically, it was the checkmate of the Cold War. The existence of SYT AHR served as a powerful deterrent. By proving that the American command structure could survive a nuclear strike, it robbed the Soviet Union of the decapitation strike victory condition. It ensured that the second strike capability was always on the table. However, it also created a great divide, the strategic reality that the government's priority was its own survival over the survival of the civilian population. It turned continuity of government into a strategic religion where the mountain was the only cathedral left standing. The strategy was one of pure nihilism. The nation is not its people, but its chain of command. By decoupling the survival of the leadership from the survival of the populace, the U.S. successfully signaled that winning a nuclear war was possible, even if the victory was presided over by 3,000 people in a Pennsylvania basement. This strategic posture effectively ended the era of easy nuclear blackmail. If you kill the capital, the mountain will kill you back. It created a strategic infinite loop where the only way to win was not to play, thus maintaining the uneasy peace of mutually assured destruction. As far as technological and operational breakthroughs go, it led to quite a few, such as massive scale electromagnetic pulse shielding. To ensure that the atomic-proof servers inside Raven Rock didn't fry during a nuclear burst, engineers developed the world's most advanced Faraday cage architecture, lining entire caverns with specialized copper and steel meshes. This science is now the industry standard for protecting critical data centers and financial hubs from solar flares or electronic warfare. It is the reason your banking data survives geomagnetic storms. For the military, every tank, jet, and satellite link terminal uses the shielding protocols perfected at SYT AHR to ensure they remain operational in a high-energy combat environment. Spies use this for skiff construction, sensitive, compartmented information facilities. The intelligence community uses this shielding to create zero-leak rooms where electronic eavesdropping is physically impossible. And then dynamic spring-mounted structural engineering. Engineers pioneered the floating building concept, where three-story structures sit on massive multi-ton industrial springs that allow the building to move independently of the mountain's vibration. This breakthrough revolutionized seismic retrofitting. Today, skyscrapers in Tokyo and San Francisco use base isolation systems derived from these bunker designs to sway safely during massive earthquakes. The military applies this in the design of hardened missile silos. The launch controls and the missiles themselves are suspended in similar shock-absorbing cradles, ensuring a near miss doesn't jam the silo doors. And spies use this for mobile command centers in active war zones. Sensitive server arrays are mounted on shock racks to ensure data processing continues during heavy artillery fire. And closed-loop nuclear, biological, and chemical filtration. To keep 3,000 people alive while the atmosphere above is toxic, SYT AHR pioneered high-pressure positive displacement air systems and advanced particulate scrubbers. This technology is the direct ancestor of the clean room environments used in semiconductor manufacturing and the biosafety level 4 labs used to study viruses. The military uses this in modern tanks like the M1 Abrams, which feature overpressure systems that keep the crew safe from external toxins, a direct operational legacy of the mountain's life support. As far as the spies are concerned, they apply this in safe house construction in high-risk zones. The IC, the intelligence community, installs miniaturized NBC scrubber units to protect assets from biological contamination during a localized attack. And redundant hardened communication hubs. Raven Rock was the birthplace of survivable network theory. Engineers built a web of underground cables and microwave relays that could automatically reroute if any single point was destroyed. The self-healing network architecture is the foundation of the internet. This and the protocols designed to keep the Pentagon talking to its bunkers became the TCP/IP standards we use today. The military's joint all-domain networks rely on the multi-path redundancy pioneered at Site R to ensure constant connectivity across the globe. The intelligence community utilizes this for ghost networks. They operate clandestine communication channels that use burst transmission and multi-path routing to ensure reports reach headquarters during a blackout. Raven Rock is the ultimate testament to the Granite Shield. It is the moment the American government decided that the mountain was safer than the ballot box. It is a world of springs and scrubbers, a subterranean city built for tomorrow that we hope never comes. Built for a tomorrow that we hope never comes. In the end, Site R reminds us that the price of continuity is the acceptance of annihilation. It is a cold, dark place where the lights are always on, waiting for the surface to go silent. We look back at the Doomsday Mountain as the most expensive insurance policy in history, a policy that only pays out when everything else is lost. If you see a helicopter heading for the Blue Ridge Summit, don't bother following. In the event of a nuclear war, the only safe place is half a mile under 1 billion tons of greenstone. Always remember that continuity of government doesn't necessarily include you. And remember, a mountain that can breathe is a mountain that's waiting for the fire to go out. Thanks for listening, and join us next time as we're going to be examining Project Li Tempo. Imagine a spy network so deep that the CIA didn't just have informants in the government, they were the government. We're looking at the high-level assets, including 3 Mexican presidents who were on the agency payroll while the streets of Tlatelolco ran red with student blood. Sorry, I don't speak Spanish. It's Tlattelolco. Join us next time for the presidential puppets. In the meantime, I'll see you in the archives.